Words out of the mouth of Benjamin Netanyahu. This is why I don't like the America world police reputation that we have.
Here's the question I had for you.
All right. He always does that. These long lead ups to these questions.
I feel the Democrats have owned the black vote for decades, that they feel like no matter what they do, they are always going to get the black vote. That's kind of how they treat them. So a lot of blacks are not happy about it. But guess what? Every year, 84 to 88% vote Democrat.
We are going to see a sharp decline starting with this election. I think we already saw a decent decline in 2020, but I think the whole, if you don't vote for me, you ain't what? I think that was the nail in the coffin for the Black Caucus to just automatically be Democrats. Gomtech said that is a salesman for you. Yep.
I get a feeling that Netanyahu or Israel, this is a question a lot of people are thinking about, including myself, sees the Americans as the same way. America's got our back. We can do whatever we want to do, and they're going to always have our back. Matter of fact, even in a private conversation that he was having in 2001, I want to play this clip. He's having a conversation with a couple people. This has been reported on by WAPO in 2010.
Wait, I thought he was going to play this clip now. Let me know if you guys have seen the clip that he's about to play of Netanyahu.
Al Jazeera, I want to say in 2001 and all over the place. If you don't mind paying attention to this video, and then I'll ask the question. Here's Netanyahu privately having a conversation in 01. Go ahead, Robin, play it.
The main thing is the first of all of them to strike not once, but several times, so painfully that the price they pay is unbearable. So far, the price tag is not unbearable. I mean, a large-scale attack on the Palestinian Authority, causing them to fear that everything is about to collapse. Fear is what brings them to hold on, and then this is somebody else talking. So hold on. But then again, the world will say we're the aggressors, talking about saying to Netanyahu, well, hold on. If we just go ham on the Palestinians, then everybody's going to say that we're the aggressors. So Netanyahu, they can say whatever they want. Like, aren't you afraid of what they'll say? And there it is. Netanyahu says, especially today, with the U.S. I know how they are. America is something you can easily maneuver. Words out of the mouth of Benjamin Netanyahu. This is why I don't like the America world police reputation that we have. I'm all for, helping out allies when we need to. I'm not for being like, well, we got America back here, so you better do what we say. I don't like that at all. Easily, what do you say? Easily maneuvered and moved in the right direction. Even if they say something. So then say something. So what? 80% of America supports us. 80% of America supports us. So who cares what is right? Who cares who dies? Because America supports us. Sounds like a good thing. Any films from this video? I think he said it was 2000 something. We'll check it again. He mentioned it right before, but we'll check it again. Remind me if I forget. Bonsig said Israel must try somebody else. Hey, shout out to Soul to Soul. Welcome to the party. Good to see you. So he said he's not wrong. We are the world's police, thus easily manipulated by global monopolists. Yeah, right. I mean, thank you, Armand Defoe. It's 2001. I mean, he's not wrong. He's not wrong. So the issue is not with him. He's, thinking about Israel. The issue is with our own government. The issue is with our own government. Sony film, yeah, that was 2001. Bonzing said he had 5 terms. He had 5 terms to do it. Yeah. Still working on it. It's absurd.
80% of Americans support us. It's absurd. We can kind of get what we want out of them. So this is my concern. I'm America first. I live here. My kids live here. My kids are in Florida because I feel the safest here. I don't mind my allies having good relationships.
Exactly.
I'm okay with my allies. I have a problem with my allies using me as a card to abuse that get out of jail card. And then eventually this thing can turn around and lead into World War III, because World War I, 19 million people died. 260 million people died. If the third one happens at that trajectory, it's 200 million people.
200 million people just gone because America, world police. Hey, we got Rhett in action in the building. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the party, brother. Good to see ya.
Do you think Netanyahu is kind of using a get out of jail card to do what he wants to do and what he's been wanting to do with Palestine all these years?
No, look, I don't think, I mean, I think you pointed out, how does, they have the best security in the world, and yet this is a massive attack on their civilian population. So my sense is in Israel is that the public is very disenchanted with the government. I think they view it as having been a big problem that this happened. And so I think they're now in a situation where they have to say, okay, you know, you have this group in the Gaza Strip, which, by the way, is not occupied territory. Israel pulled out in 2006. They elected Hamas, and I think that's been a big mistake because most of the capital goes into the terrorist infrastructure.
And that's where a big problem with it is that unlike, even though we also armed ISIS and all those people from Afghanistan, Iraq, and all that stuff that turned around to then fight us, Hamas was elected in. Hamas was elected in. And yeah, teachers are saying the fact that people chose sides the day Israel invaded Gaza based on almost non-existent coverage we had shows how little they have to virtue signal. It's all about, what's the right opinion? What am I supposed to say right now? Let's see, that Tim Pool shows was good with Good Sky. Well, I'll definitely have to check that out. Any Film said, okay, 2001, pre or post 9/11, that matters. Under Bush. Also, as mentioned, as far as I know, Israel did not act as an aggressor in those years, only responding to attacks as RD even gave up land. Okay, great. That doesn't change the fact that he looks at America as a bodyguard. Who cares what people will say? We got America over here. Whatever the facts of how things played out after that are irrelevant to the fact that that's his perception, and it's not good.
But I think they're in a situation where you can't live with that type of a threat right on your border, and so they have to deal with it. I don't think it's a question of America get out of jail free. I think honestly they're going to do what they're going to do. We've been a strong ally of theirs, and vice versa over the years. But we've deployed troops all over the world. We've never deployed troops there. They've always fought with their own army. So I think I don't think it's a question of manipulating America. I think it's, you have the American people by and large have affinity for Israel. Largely, I think more from in our Christian community than anything, just based on the history of the Judeo-Christian tradition and how it's informed this country. So
that's what they want you to think.
I think it is unique in terms of the affinity that our country has for Israel because of the biblical history and people's adherence to the Judeo-Christian tradition.
Yeah, I mean, Bonsai's like he's giving beta vibes here. Like, well, I mean, I know you said exactly the thing that we don't like, but maybe it's just talking or whatever. I don't know. I'm with Bonsai. And he said, yes, in 2001, he looked at America as a bodyguard, and if it was post 9/11, that's because the U.S. was looking for payback in the region. Did he feel the same security under Obama, Trump, and then under Biden? I would think yes. What I mean, it wasn't as like you're talking about with 9/11. It wasn't as poignant, but absolutely. Why would have those numbers changed? Has it been below 80% of support? Then why would things change? Just because you and I aren't there doesn't mean that I don't know why that would mean that people change their minds just because we didn't see something on TV. I'm not saying that's what you're implying, but I'm not making the connection.
Earlier today, he said, this whole thing about ceasefire, I don't know if you saw that or not, where he's like, look, we're not going to ceasefire. Did America ceasefire with Pearl Harbor? Did America ceasefire with 9/11? Did America ceasefire? We're not going to either, right? Which, by the way, I understand his position. My concern isn't his position. My concern is this going so extreme.
World War III. Yeah, I'm all for Israel defending themselves. I'm not saying, just sit on your hands. I'm saying the complete opposite. That don't sit on your hands and let us do all of your dirty work. So the Soul said, of course, Israel is an ally. We're funding everything they do. Getting to where I can't stand the placating and the supposed status quo, politically speaking. I, for one, am tired of policing. Yep. To be said, but the U.S.
It backfires. You're seeing what happened at airports yesterday in Russia. I'm sure you saw that clip. It's all over the place. What do we do to prevent this from coming back in our soil? I'm a product of Iran. I lived in Iran 10 years, and I remember when Jimmy Carter's like, well, human rights, the Shah's got to get rid of these 3,000 political prisoners. He did. And then Al-Qaeda and, Osama bin Laden, all this thing came out of it 10, 20, 30 years later. We got a 9/11 here. So are you worried the position he's taking could have some residual effects that come to America?
I don't think it's because of that. I am worried about terrorism in America, largely because of what our own government has done to let people in illegally from all around the world. You've had people, almost 8 million have come in. We know people have come in from China, Russia, Middle East, all these places, 140 people on the terror watch list that our own government acknowledges. I mean, so you figure there's a lot more than that.
It's interesting how he's chosen to move the conversation from the Hamas and Israel attack to, okay, here's what's wrong with our government, because he has a lot more control as president. He would have a lot more control over what's going on. And I think that's a smart move.
And if you look at 9/11, part of the reason that happened was a failure of the immigration system too. I mean, those people they weren't here on valid visas, or they had their visas expired, the hijackers. So my fear is just you have so many people that have flooded in. Some of them are part of the drug cartel. Some of them just want to work. Some of them are criminal aliens. And then some of them, I think, would be potential terrorists. And I think there's going to be a terrorist attack in this country that we're going to be able to trace back to the border. And so I look at it and say, okay, you got to protect your own people first and foremost. Territorial integrity of your country must be enforced. You can't just let the inmates run the asylum.
See, I agree with him here. And I thought it was a good move and taking the conversation in this direction. But now you're just giving platitudes about like, well, we got to keep the American people safe. Like, yes. And your plan to do that is, what are you going to change? What are you going to do? What are you going to, like, the question was, should Americans be worried about a Hamas attack? And you're not saying anything to be either like, yes, this is why I'm going to do this, that, and the other, or no, because we are whatever. Wishy-washy.
And I think what we're seeing in some of these places in Europe, in some of these areas, is they had immigration policies that were bringing people in that didn't want to assimilate. My view is like nobody has a right to come to America, of course, illegally, but even legally, it's a privilege to be able to do that.
Facts.
The two things that has to be is you got to believe in this country's ideals, and you got to want to assimilate. I don't think it's helpful to bring in massive numbers of people that are going to try to bring foreign cultures in, and that's I think what's happened. There's no-go zones in France and in Britain and some of these places. That's not a recipe for success. So
notice the one thing he didn't mention: religious faith. All you need is to believe in our values and want to assimilate into our country. That's it. And he will say, I think it'll be a huge mistake for Hamas to attack on American soil or anybody that could be traced to Hamas. Because I think it would sway and unite the American public against them. Thanks so much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed that clip, check out the full live stream link in the bio and catch me live every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. See you there.